The first sound anyone heard that day was not a voice. It was a gasp, a sharp, collective gasp that rippled through the glass walls of the corporate plaza like a shockwave. The CEO's son, a child who had never spoken a single word since the day he was born, stood trembling in the center of a stunned crowd, and something impossible was about to happen. Before we go any further, if you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in miracles born from the most unexpected places, take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the channel. Stories like this remind us why compassion still matters. Everyone in the city knew about Adrian Cole, the powerful CEO whose name towered above skyscrapers and stock markets. He built empires from nothing, commanded boardrooms with a single glance, and had more wealth than most could dream of. But inside his luxurious penthouse, behind the guarded gates and polished marble floors, there was one thing he could never buy: his son's voice. Little Daniel had been born mute. Doctors called it a rare neurological condition. Specialists were flown in from across continents. Therapists tried innovative treatments. Adrian spared no expense. Yet year after year, Daniel remained silent. His large, expressive eyes carried thoughts he could never release, and his small hands learned to communicate in gestures that only his father truly understood. Adrian loved his son fiercely, but that love was wrapped in frustration and guilt. He blamed himself. He blamed fate. He blamed a world that had given him everything except the one thing he desired most: to hear his child say, "Dad." That morning, Adrian had brought Daniel to the company's grand charity event, hoping to show the board that he was more than a ruthless businessman. The courtyard outside the headquarters was crowded with employees, reporters, and donors. Cameras flashed, speeches echoed, applause filled the air, and then from the edge of the crowd she appeared. She was small, thin, and dressed in torn, dusty clothes. Her hair was tangled from nights spent sleeping wherever she could find shelter. Most people didn't notice her at first. Those who did quickly looked away. She was just another homeless girl wandering too close to a world that didn't want to see her. Her name was Mira. Security moved toward her immediately, but something unexpected happened. Daniel saw her. While adults whispered and judged, Daniel stared at Mira with an intensity that startled even his father. Mira didn't look frightened. She looked curious. And when their eyes met, something shifted in the air. Before anyone could stop her, Mira stepped closer. From her pocket she pulled a small green leaf wrapped carefully in cloth. It looked ordinary, like something plucked from a roadside plant. Security reached for her arm, but Daniel suddenly tugged away from his father and stood directly in front of her. The crowd fell silent. Mira gently placed the leaf in Daniel's hand. There was no performance, no demand for money, no dramatic gesture. Just a quiet offering. Then, in a movement so natural it felt ancient, she guided his hand toward his mouth. Gasps erupted as Daniel chewed the strange herb. Adrian's heart pounded with fury and fear. How could anyone let this happen? What if it was poisonous? What if it harmed his son? He rushed forward, ready to pull Daniel away, but then he froze. Daniel's body stiffened, his eyes widened, his lips trembled, and then, for the first time in 7 years, a sound escaped. It wasn't loud, it wasn't clear, but it was a word. "Da!" The courtyard seemed to stop breathing. Daniel's face flushed, and he tried again, tears spilling down his cheeks as though something locked inside him had shattered open. "Dad!" Adrian staggered backward as if struck. The world's most powerful CEO fell to his knees in front of his son, sobbing in a way no shareholder meeting had ever seen. Cameras captured the moment, but no one dared speak. Daniel repeated the word again and again, each time stronger, as if reclaiming years of silence in seconds. Doctors later explained that the herb Mira carried was known in certain rural communities for stimulating nerve responses. It wasn't magic. It wasn't superstition. It was something passed down quietly through generations, dismissed by modern medicine because it lacked funding and fame. But for Daniel, it unlocked what specialists never could. Adrian turned to thank the girl who had given him the greatest gift of his life. but she was already walking away. He chased her through the crowd, ignoring the executives calling his name. He found her near the gates, standing alone, as if she expected nothing in return. Mira didn't ask for money. She didn't ask for a home. She simply said she had seen Daniel's loneliness because she carried her own. She had lost her family years ago and survived on the streets, learning from elders who shared ancient remedies and quiet wisdom. That day changed both their lives. Adrian didn't just reward her, he listened to her. He brought her into safety, ensured she received education, care, and dignity. But more importantly, he began funding research into traditional medicine practices that had long been ignored. He opened community centers in the very neighborhoods he once overlooked. He used his influence not only to grow profits, but to amplify forgotten knowledge. Daniel continued speech therapy, but now every new word felt like a sunrise. His laughter filled halls that once echoed with silence, and Adrian, once known only for ambition, became known for something far greater: humility. The story spread across the world. Some called it a miracle, others called it science rediscovered, but those who truly understood called it kindness meeting opportunity. If this story has touched your heart so far, take a moment to comment the word "believe" below. Let's fill this space with hope. Because sometimes the greatest breakthroughs don't come from wealth or power. They come from compassion, from seeing someone the world ignores, from trusting that wisdom doesn't always wear a lab coat or sit in a boardroom. Years later, at another public event, Daniel stood confidently at a podium. His voice, once silent, rang clear across the same courtyard. Adrian stood in the audience, tears shining in his eyes, while Mira, now studying to become a medical researcher, smiled proudly beside him. The boy who was born mute had found his voice. The girl who was once invisible had found her future. And a father who once believed money could solve everything finally understood that miracles often arrive dressed in rags. If this story moved you, if it reminded you that kindness can change destinies, please like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us continue telling stories that inspire the world to believe in humanity again.